Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tellor Dev Call. Today is October 14th, 2025. And we updated mainnet last week. Everything went smoothly, so that's really good news. But our next update is going to be basically upgrading to upgrading the Cosmos SDK. So Dan, how's that coming along? I know you've been working on the testing and you're almost there.
Yeah, all the interchain tests are passing now. That's where the issue was. It was just, and it was not an issue with the upgrade itself. It was just Docker file and Highliner issues in the interchain test suite. But yeah, all those are passing now. And now I'm moving on to the LVM. I need some better error handling and alert messages in certain scenarios. And we're also going to implement when we look up a trusted value, if we think it might need disputed, maybe wait some time frame and pull another price. And if the reported price is somewhere in that range, then it's okay. Because this past weekend was a little crazy.
It was an exciting weekend for crypto. Things, at least, I think, anyway, let's not talk about that. Well, thanks. So for the Cosmos SDK, though, is that ready for testing so that Spuddy and Caleb can start testing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then we'll have to issue a release, and we're gonna be creating a new release branch, and we'll talk about that right after the call, guys. But yeah. So with that, Caleb.
Yeah, so did the upgrade, and then after that we did some testing, and I also moved one of my validators locations because it was not syncing very well. And besides that, just I'm working on implementing the indexer with the Explorer so it could be a little bit faster and more responsive for some of the more intensive queries. Yeah.
Spuddy.
At the end of last week, I finished manually testing the mainnet upgrade features. The LVM disputed everybody, so that was exciting. I helped with resolving that. I tried to update the docs, so the docs should be back to fully up to date after the upgrade. And if they're not, let me know. And then I got to fix my snapshot server. The snapshot server is not working after the upgrade. Probably some configuration that I still keep forgetting to change. I got to do a manual one to see where it's failing.
Thanks, Buddy. And the manual checks that he's talking about are the manual checks that we run after any upgrade that we do. So I guess that's our green light that everything's good to go.
Looks good.
Akram?
I'm gonna add another feed to the daemon layer. Also, work on the indexer a little bit. Also, maybe Spuddy. I'm gonna reach out to him to get maybe help me out with the AWS instance and just move it there.
Thanks, Akram. Tim?
So last week I made quite a few changes to the relayer, to the Pi relayer. I added in some better config management. That was kind of in a branch the previous week. But I added better data sources. So instead of just relying on one data source for watching prices, for watching for price threshold changes, I made it act a little bit more like the Tellor layer reporter price checker. So it actually uses different sources depending on the asset and aggregation. So that was running all weekend. It looks like it was doing well, but I'm checking in on that. And then that was kind of the last piece of the whole user documentation flow. I had already updated the using Tellor layer library and some other repos, and then the relayer was the last step of that, and then now I can document all the latest steps of how you integrate Tellor layer. I'm also working on an Encode Club presentation.
That's coming up next October 23rd. I don't know if it's a Wednesday or a Thursday, but when it comes out, guys, we'll share it so you guys can see it. So now that the relayer is up and running and you say it's running well, is Dan or Spuddy running the backup relayer?
Spuddy.
Okay, so make sure to ping him so he knows to update his. All right, Ryan.
Just gonna be working on essentially we have an outdated how it works video for Tellor, so we want to update that. So I'm going to be working on creating that video. And then, there's a couple small front-end issues that I need to address.
And this weekend was super exciting in many ways, just for whole crypto and also for Tellor, in terms of a lot of things happened. So we managed it pretty well, but I don't know if you want to talk about it, Nick, a little bit more, or if you have anything else to say.
No, I mean it was a fun it was fun to look at everything else. It just gives you the hard choices to make whenever whenever you're an Oracle, you have to pick when to report a price, when you think it's a bad price, when to dispute. If a price changes by 50% in 1 second, knowing whether that's a bad price or a legitimate price is very, very difficult. It kind of a shout out to any users, like you don't know. You just kind of have to build in robustness, and there's a trade-off. Either you have an accurate price, but it's going to be a little bit slower because it'll probably recover, or you're going to have a price that's really fast, but it goes down or stays flat or whatever. It moves crazy, and there's an inherent trade-off. Some people have seen it was like the USDE was some of the cause of this. Like people are calling it like an Oracle issue on Binance, but basically Binance used their own internal pricing. So then if USDE, the price dips below a certain threshold, you start liquidating people who are long. So, if you're betting 100x leveraged USDE and the price dip, you get liquidated, and they were using their own price of USDE, which is good. So I'm actually going to come out and defend Binance in this, because the other option, which is what a lot of people do, and we do this for certain prices too that other people want, is you just hard peg things. So you say, listen, USDC equals $1. You say USDT equals $1, USDE equals $1. And all these stable coins, you peg them at $1. And you say now, because like they're gonna move, you say like they're gonna have some slight variations, but we don't need to liquidate people on those little movements since they're all worth $1. And your system, if you just peg it at $1, like this past weekend, you would have done great because it all did recover to $1. But the downside is like if you all peg them all to $1 and it doesn't go great, then everybody is underwater and the actual system's broke. So will break. So, the perp exchanges, the compounds, the Aves, everybody who would peg it at $1 would break. So it's like, do you want to there's a flash manipulation event on Binance, which is like what happened this weekend. If you would have pegged it at $1, you would have been safe from that. However, if there is a real event where, say, USDE, all of the collateral in the actual bank vaults goes missing or is stolen, not that there's anything against USDE, but this could happen. It always happens to centralized exchanges. So then what happens? And yeah, so it'll probably be the next financial crisis here in 4 to 5 years, but we'll wait for that, and we can point back to times like these.
We can all speculate. But then the whole thing about hard coding it to 1, I think in a way serves the same purpose as waiting a time period before you actually update it.
Well, I mean, in some cases it's good because there's no liquidity, right? Like if you were doing like we're right now looking at like YETH or some of these, like if you wanted to go against the market rate for YETH specifically, it doesn't really trade on any exchanges. It has like a couple dexes that trade it. So if you're just using the market rate, everybody knows we can go manipulate those prices and throw your Oracle and break your system. It's unsafe, right? Or in a lot of ways, it's unsafe. If you just hard code it though, now you take away the ability to manipulate it. So
now, I was going back to your statement about the trade-off between getting really fast prices and actually waiting, or having a larger time period where you either wait to see what happens and then you update. When you hard code it, you're basically saying you're waiting forever until this comes back to that peg or to that value.
It's tough.
I mean, with the hard code, don't you still want to? I mean, you still want your protocol to know if it's depegged, right?
Yeah, but that's the hard part. How do you know if it's depegged?
Yeah.
You'd have to. So then, like, maybe what's needed is an oracle for is it depegged or not?
Well, yeah, but then it's the same exact problem. Like, if it moves in a flash crash, do you say it's depegged?
No.
Maybe. Right. Like maybe not. Well, if you say no, then all the stuff leaves your system. Everybody dumps your token. So. Well, yeah, I know people don't like it, but like maybe we should just trade these things like Eastern time office hours and pause systems, make it a little slower.
And go back to NASDAQ.
Exactly, right? Like, yeah, maybe there's a good reason we don't.
So that's why they only trade Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Anyway, we'll speculate some more at some other time. None of this is financial advice or anything close to that. So take that with a grain of salt. It's just us talking about what happened this weekend. But with that, we'll see you guys next week. And yeah, look forward to that upgrade to mainnet, to the Cosmos SDK. Should be fairly smooth, but we'll keep you up to date. All right, see you guys next week.